All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Indie Music Issues. I am Björk van Benediksen, founder of Audio Issues and author of You Get What You Give and Step-by-Step Mixing and some other audio or some other ebooks that you can
and
find.
some other books, thousands of books, author of thousands of books.
But I haven't.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm Ryan, the founder of the Indie Music Academy, the channel where we uncover the mysteries of the music industry, learn how to grow a larger fan base, and earn income from our music. And thank you for being here with us today. Why don't you say hi in the chat so we can know you by name, and we will be taking questions today. So welcome.
Yes, especially this always goes is more fun when you guys are here with us. Otherwise, we'll just go on tangents and rants. And I don't know if we want that, but I don't think we want that. It might be fun. It might be fun. But today we're going to talk about who is your dream fan, client, student? Who is the person that you're trying to serve in a way? And what characteristics, what are their characteristics, and how do you want to create a partnership between them where you both level up in a way, whether that is working with other musicians as an engineer or trying to find fans as a musician / producer, or being a musicpreneur or online business owner in the music industry, trying to find customers and clients. Who are they? Where are they? And how can you grow your audience by sort of telling them that you exist, I guess.
Yeah, seriously. Well, it's such an important subject because, and I kind of tease this in my email if you're on my list, but a funny thing happens when you narrow down your audience to, the ideal dream person, right? What we're going to talk about today. Something funny happens where you actually reach more people instead of, it's counterintuitive to what you would think, right? If you narrow down, you actually reach more people. And so that is really the reason why we chose this topic, why it's so important, and why we hope you guys think it's important too. So we have a couple people
business. It's actually business 101 in a way, but we are. I know that musicians tend to run the other way when you talk about business and marketing. So we're trying to trick you into learning marketing by talking about it in ways that you might find more interesting.
That's right.
Randall is an insider of mine. He's here. Thanks for coming, Randall. Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Larry? Welcome back.
He is definitely one of my dream students or ideal customer. He's one of my insider members. Actually, I'll put a link in the show notes later, but I'm doing a $1 free, $1 30-day trial for my insider members this week. And I'm actually we're doing a live stream of an album that two of my insider members, they met during Insiders or during our Feedback Friday group coaching calls, started collaborating, made a record together or made an album together, and now we're going to stream that live on Friday on my YouTube channel. So it's a cool little thing that we're trying out. So if you want to be an insider, I'll paste the link here.
Paste that link.
Go for it.
What is up, Mama Gina Lamonte?
Yeah, Gina Lamonte. She's also an insider. Nice. So let's talk about who's your ideal fan as a musician, Ryan, and also how does that differ from your ideal student / customer for the Indie Music Academy?
Right. So the way that I do everything, the way that I do all of my customer research is by going through something that's called like the fan avatar process. And this is something that's covered in depth in the fan journey formula. But basically the avatar is a great show, a decent movie, and then also a very bad movie. But no, I'm just joking. The fan avatar is basically you put like a name and an entire backstory to a made-up individual, or it could be a combination of a bunch of individuals that are actually real. It's inspired by real people. You take their real traits and you combine them into a made-up person that's your fan avatar.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done for my music. That's what I've done for my online business. And doing that exercise and creating that made up person, you actually give them a name. You give them kind of like a backstory, you know, and you can be creative. You give them like a job. You give them the hobbies, what they like to do. You basically create this person that is in love with your music, and you use that fan avatar as a guide for your artist branding and how to move forward and how you create your content, how you speak to your audience. So that's the process that I go through. It's probably similar to what you've done in the past as well.
Yeah, so I have an exercise in my, it's sort of I call it the customer canvas. It's based on like the lean canvas or the small business canvas, which are all like sort of start from the startup world of how you, it's like a business plan. Like the lean canvas is like a business plan on a sheet of paper. So I took that and I drilled down into the customer part of it and made a customer centric canvas, if you will. And that's all about like, what problems are you trying to solve for your customer, and what are their hopes and dreams, and what are their pains and fears? Put another way, what are they trying to achieve by solving their problem, and what are they trying to avoid by solving their problem? Like two ways of thinking of it. What is the one tangible result that you can give them? You know, in my case, it's like a professional mix or a released record. But you know, you look at any other company, like they always have like, what is the actual thing that people want by using your product or service? They don't care about, you know, how cool your product is. They care about what it does for them, right?
Right.
And you might get some brand loyal customers later on down the line, but your product has to work for them and give them those first, right? Because otherwise they'll have to find another substitute. They will have spent money on something that didn't work, and then they go somewhere else. And then you want to think about the worldview too, which is sort of I like Seth Godin's one of my favorite sort of thought leaders, if you will, and he always talks about people like us do things like this. So who are the people like us, and what do we do? In my case, people like us make music in our home studios and try to do most of it ourselves, relying on maybe outsourcing something or collaborating when needed. But and we pride ourselves on making the best product possible within our means, and using the available resources we have, which is home studio setups, maybe budget equipment, but if you have a good song, you have a good production, you have good fundamentals from the music side, the budget equipment isn't going to destroy that in any way. You know, you might get better results with a little more expensive mic, but it's not going to make or break that particular song. So it's all about making the song and the sound choices and the production as good as possible, using the equipment and limited budget that you have to be proud of the things that you finally finish and release. And that is, and like finishing something and releasing it is sort of my barometer on like whether you are quote unquote like getting the stuff done. Because if you're working on things and never actually putting it out there, you're sort of stuck in this like kind of limbo where you have all these great ideas, but because you don't put any of them out, you're sort of stalled. I have an email coming out tomorrow where I'm talking about one of my insider members, Nick Hamilton, who released 13 songs in the last 12 months, and just like clockwork in a way, he's gotten his production process down super smooth. And before he put himself on like a song a month challenge, he hadn't released anything, and now he's 13 songs in after 12 months. And not only does he now have a body of work that he can refer to and proudly release and talk about, he's been played on the radio and stuff like that after you know, setting himself a challenge of releasing. But because he's taken the creative ideas and put them somewhere, he's sort of opened up room for maybe the muse to come back and inspire him again, get him writing again, adding more ideas to his potential release schedule in a way.
Mhm.
So that worldview is different than the worldview of who I like to call the curmudgeons of the audio industry. The you need to an SSL 4000 and a $5,000 mic, otherwise your music's going to sound like garbage. Or
Mhm.
you need to hire the pro audio engineers, and you should not do it yourself because you'll just you'll it'll hurt more than help, or it'll all sound terrible. You need a producer and a team and all that, which you might need a producer, you might need a team, you might need a mastering engineer at some point. But the fundamental worldview that I like to encourage is you should know how to do it all yourself, because then you know when it's best to find somebody to help you. And
Mhm.
so I teach you the skills you need to succeed. Succeed is a super broad, vague term. What that means has to be defined by you. And so if you just have more skills, you will basically be you're more likely to be successful. Sort of like you were talking about in an email last week about luck. I'm
Mm.
actually on Ryan's email list. I read all of his emails.
Hey.
And so like you kind of create, you can be lucky in the traditional sense of like you buy a lottery ticket and win the lottery, which is the probability is slim to nil, right? But
Mhm.
if you take shots at bat, you continually educate yourself, you try new things, you put more things out there. The more things that are out there, the more likely they are to maybe hit somebody else and create a relationship or a connection.
Yeah, totally. Dude, I'm
Man,
so glad you brought luck into it. I wasn't planning on connecting those, but it's so perfect. Um, it's it's basically for you guys who didn't read the email, a lot of the times we think luck is chance. But that's only like one kind. That's like blind luck or dumb luck. But there's a bunch of other situations where you actually can create your own luck. Like, for example, understanding who your audience is, like what Björkman was talking about, is one way to create your own luck. If you understand who your ideal fan is, who your ideal client is, if you're a producer, um, from the outside, people will be like, wow, what a lucky person to have a fan base like that, or to have overflowing clients, or to have this many Spotify streams, or wow, they must have gotten some kind of lucky break. And they would be right, because you actually created your own luck. You created the opportunities, and you were ready for them, to basically fall upon you because you were prepared, right? So that was basically what the email was about. It's something I super believe in. Pretty much all the luck I've ever had, I've never won a lotto ticket. All the luck I've ever had was because I did something to either take advantage of another lucky situation that I was, the beneficiary of, or I had some kind of skill where someone else got lucky and they needed help and they needed me. And so I basically inherited their luck. And so if you're an artist and you are unprepared as far as digital marketing, online marketing, right? Or you, don't know how to find fans online, right? Then something happens, right? Something lucky happens. You get an opportunity, but you haven't prepared. You haven't created your own luck yet to be ready for that opportunity. That luck's just going to pass you right by. And so as we start to dive into finding your ideal fan, your ideal client, I would love for you guys to put in the chat if you've ever done any kind of brainstorming exercise, any kind of just thinking in general about the type of person you want to attract with your musical brand. And it's okay. The answer could be no. Just drop in no too. I want to gauge the room today, but why don't you do that right now so we can start diving into your questions and help you out the best we can today.
Yeah. Just another thing about this talks more about clients, but we can talk about fans too. It's this thing about qualifying and disqualifying customers.
Mm-hmm.
And so So for a fan, right, you have to qualify a fan, and an easy qualifier is if they even like your genre of music, right?
Right.
For a customer, it's always about like if they are actually going to buy your products or enlist your services in any way. And so like that's how you qualify clients, is like if you you put offers in front of them, and like you say, I have this thing, I think it might help, do you want it or not? I mean, that's an oversimplification, but that's basically what it is. And if people say no, there can be various reasons why. It could be a price issue, it could be a that's not what they're looking for in the moment, they're not ready. A good example of like not being ready is like, it's really hard to pitch your services as a mastering engineer if the band is still recording or producing their songs. They're not even thinking about mastering at that point, unless they have a relationship with a mastering engineer. But you sort of have this like window of your services depending on what you offer. And so you have to really drill down to who those people are and where they are in their journey. So if you help people out in a specific aspect of their journey. So for instance, mine is I help people out the most after they've sort of put their songs together and are working on the mixing, and they're trying to learn how to do it themselves. And then I help them with that aspect through my courses and my memberships. And then I also sort of do a little bit of coaching when it comes to encouraging them to actually, hit the publish button and release their songs.
So
that's my narrow window of time in a way.
Yeah. So there's definitely an order of operations that happens in this case, right? So there's like a general pool of people, right? But if you try to attract everyone,
right,
you'll end up doing nothing pretty much, right? You'll blend in.
Right.
So what you do is you try to clarify a message.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so the message that draws out certain individuals from a group of people. And then what happens next? Do you try to engage with them in some way, or do you give them like a small win? Like if we have a bunch of people and you attract some of them, what's the next step for? I know there's a few people watching who are starting their own coaching business. Calder's here, Lowry's here.
Yeah.
So what would be the next step?
So I mean, we talk about, so like there's like the hierarchy of marketing or whatever, or like how you lead people through the journey. So the first thing you need to do is make people aware of you, right? If they don't know, if you can help them but they don't know you exist, you can't help them because
yeah.
And this goes back to what we talked about last week, running ads versus creating organic content. That talks all about the awareness side. It's just like it happens to be if you're watching this on a replay, go and watch that episode and then come back here, because that's about awareness and making sure that people are aware of what you do and what you can do. You do that through content or paid advertising. From there, I usually try to give them a quick win of some sort. I have various sort of free reports or free content that I give in exchange for an email address, like my quick mixing checklist, or my EQ cheat sheet, or my mix finisher cheat sheet, and my vocal production checklist, like all these sorts of things. And I run ads to this, and it's like on my website and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I want to give them a quick win so they know, like, okay, like he gave me something that I could use and it was helpful to me. Maybe I'll stay on his email list, right?
Yeah.
Because like we're skeptical, everybody's, especially like today, like consumers in general or anybody signing up for an email is skeptical about like, what does this person do for me? Like, does he just like want my money and give me some garbage in return, right? That's kind of like, that's sort of what we're dealing with, but that's on you to sort of change. You have to change their mind about who you are and why they should know, like, and trust you. That's like those three things always people, marketers in particular, talk about, know, liking, and trusting, because at that point, they're more likely to take the next step with you, which is whatever else you offer that isn't free. So I think
free is like a filter too, in a way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if you give them a quick win, but then it's like not the win that they need or not the right time or whatever it is, then they're just going to filter out as well, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because like and there's a really good book called Built to Sell that talks about a graph. Like it's kind of like it's one of the reasons I wrote You Get What You Give, which is sort of a business parable, is written as a novella in a way, is because I read a lot of business books that are sort of written in the story format. And I wanted to do something like that for audio engineers and music producers. But in Built to Sell, it's this graphic design agency that does everything for anybody who pays, and therefore is trying to do too much and isn't specified enough, isn't niche enough, isn't really doesn't really focus on doing what they do best. And it isn't until they do that their business starts actually growing or is more solid, and it starts being fun for the main protagonist, who's the CEO of the company in this story. But that's really so like you want like I could talk about production, recording, live sound, and I have in the past, but it's the most fun to talk about mixing. I have the most experience with it, and I have the most experience with like making my own records in a home studio and helping others out in a home studio. So it made the most amount of sense to me to sort of simplify the mixing process, and because it's a little more technical and a little more complicated than maybe recording a song, because you just have to have decent equipment and a good performance and an average to good mic, and then and if you do that well enough, you should have a mix ready recording. But EQ, compression, reverb, delay, saturation, all the things that I talk about in step-by-step mixing, like that is complicated to sort of the layman musician. And I want to demystify all of that because it's not really that hard. You just need to know where to look, and you need to know like sort of the fundamentals, and use the framework that I talk about. Use these 5 plugins because that's the 80-20 of mixing. We talked about 80-20 2 weeks ago, I think. And that's like the 80-20 of mixing is like if you learn EQ, compression, reverb, delay, and saturation, those are the only processors you need to get to, get 80% of the way there. And so that's sort of my narrow focus for my audience in a way.
Yeah. So to back up a little bit, there's a group of people, like general world, right?
Yeah.
Non-specific.
Yeah.
But then you have a message. You have basically a brand that draws people out of the crowd, right? Yep. So that's step 2.
Yeah.
And you can do that through content, through being different, through telling stories. And then the next step is to get them a quick win, and you do that by giving away something for free.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, a crucial step that you mentioned is that you also have to have a product that's actually needed. Otherwise,
like going back to the customer, you have to solve a problem. You have to know what problems they have. And but the know, like, and trust factor, I like to do through storytelling. Like I have a pretty unique story, and like kind of, and I like writing and writing emails and sort of putting funny anecdotes into story that sort of relates to mixing or music production in a way. So that's how I get people to know, like, and trust me enough to care about whether I can actually solve their problems. And so using your email list or your content in some way, you kind of want to share your story a little bit at the same time as you're focusing on what they're struggling with.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's say hi to a few people who just popped in.
Yeah.
So let's see. Justin is here. Thanks for tuning in. Calder's been going ham in the chat. Love Calder. Got some good questions. Josh is in. Thanks for tuning in. Doug, good to see you. I think what we should do is
I need a nickname like Crossbow.
Crossbow. Yeah, dude, no one's gonna mess with you if your nickname is Crossbow. Yeah. Okay, can we just take a moment to appreciate the little cartoons of us at the bottom?
Yeah, that's the Audio Issues brand through and through right there.
Yeah. Man, I've graduated. I finally made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You have. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna comment on that. I think there's a good one. Once I've identified my fan avatar, I'm not clear how I might use that to decide how to release my music. That's exactly what I wanted to kind of tie in next. How do you take this exact same, I think there's 5 steps, right? Basically what you laid out was the 5 steps to bringing a product to launch with the correct audience in mind, right? But if you're a musician, your product is yourself, right? Your music, if you're a musician.
Yeah.
In a big way. And in more ways, you are the product and your music is more of like the marketing tool for your product, which is you, your personality. So Randall, would love to dive into this. So if you're a musician, all of the steps are the same, right? There's a general audience, general group of people that exist in the world. And then you need to attract out a select group by having a clear message, a clear brand, just the way that we were talking about for Bjorkfin's business. And once you've done that, you do that through content, you do that through your social medias, you do that through storytelling, just like we've been saying. And then that third step is actually giving them a quick win still, right? What does giving a quick win look like if you're an artist? Well, that's either like an unforgettable experience. You can give them awesome downloads, VIP content. I call it the fan magnet in my at the Indie Music Academy website, right? So if you ever see a fan magnet mentioned, that's the quick win. That is step 3 in this process. And so a lot of artists are missing that quick win because what we do is we put up a website. We focus a lot on maybe making sure the logo is good or whatever it might be, but there's no reason for people to pay attention and stick around. Even if they do like the content, there's still that crucial step of getting that quote quick win, right? That could be, as simple as having a live stream and calling out someone by name, right? And that fan is like, oh my gosh, this artist recognized me as an individual, and that's their quick win for the moment, right? So there has to be some kind of moment where the fan is like, I've discovered this artist and it's awesome, and I feel connected to this. And then the rest plays out. But that's a really crucial step that hopefully will help in your release schedule, Randall. Just try to find where that connection is made when releasing your songs. And let me know if that answers your question, or if you have a follow-up question, just drop it in the chat too.
Yeah.
ST Burn Sal. Thanks.
Yeah. What else should we talk about here?
We got a couple ads questions.
Okay.
It's almost like they want us to continue the stream of last week.
Oh, right. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we can do follow-up questions for sure. That's good.
Yeah. Randall says that's helpful. Let's go back in the chat a little bit. So this is finding your audience question, but specific to Facebook ads. I have 200 followers on Instagram. If I create an audience for Facebook ads, do I have enough followers to create a lookalike audience? Using my Instagram followers, or should I try to target a new audience? So very technical Facebook ads question. So the lookalike audience is only going to be good as your data set. So if those 200 followers are like your friends and family, that might not be the right data set.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just go off of one audience anyways. So if you're creating lookalike audiences, you should test like 3 or 4 lookalike audiences to find the best lookalike audience. So what I'd say is like, gauge mentally whether those 200 followers are a good data set. create like 3 more lookalike audiences and find the best one.
Yeah.
And hopefully that brings the right person.
Yeah. And can you create a lookalike audience based on your website traffic? That's also a thing you might be able to do. And if you have an email list, that's also a lookalike audience. Like I'm focused mostly on creating a lookalike audience based on my customer list. Because a customer list is better than a subscriber list, which is better than a traffic list, which is better than, you know, your friends and family liking you on Facebook.
Right. Yeah, those are all ideal audiences, but now it's like, what is the quality of the ideal person?
Right.
You know, and so the quality as in like how did they reach your end goal? You know, are they just a subscriber? Are they just a website visitor? All of that kind of plays into it.
Right.
Calder's in. He's in the game today.
Yeah.
I've done 4 or 5 weeks Facebook Lives just for my profile, consistent Friday night time. I offered my 2 freebies like brainstorming music, theory, chords, ebooks, both 20 pages plus.
Nice.
I released 9 YouTube videos which suck. But some of the stuff there's really good content, not the delivery. Yeah, I'm writing blogs based on the same videos. I have to start a Facebook group. Next, I'm thinking of doing a free challenge to write a song, coach people really effectively. Yeah, it's so that sounds like the steps in action. I wonder what the question is. He says, sorry for all the messages.
Well, so he's thinking about ads, right? So like the main question. Maybe I should think about ads because he wants to build quicker than currently am. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So like if I wanted to grow fast, I would take I would poll the audience that I have, and or if you can do this with your gut, that's also fine. But like, what is the main problem, or what's like the best quick win that you can give them? And what is like a simple promise that you can keep with that one of your ebooks or even one of your YouTube videos can solve? And then I would create a landing page around that and an ad around that. And then I would create a lookalike audience from the best data set that you have available, whether that's your customer list or your subscriber list or your followers. Depends. And then I would narrow down that list even further with interest targeting based on like likes singing or likes lyric writing. Think about your one of the reasons we call this like the dream fan or whatever is because I have this book called Traffic Secrets by Russell Brunson, and he talks about your dream 100, which is like who are your dream 100 what brands are already catering to your dream 100 clients? Like, so what 100 companies, brands, bands, blogs, whatever, are already talking to the market that you're trying to serve? And that will give you information on how you can narrow down your interest targeting on Facebook. Also, it gives you a whole ton of copy materials to understand your audience better and knowing what they're dealing with and how you can help. And that way you can create a simple ad that solves a simple problem for free to build an email list that then you can build a welcome sequence that even if I don't believe that your YouTube videos suck. I think that's you're being probably overly critical about yourself. There's probably something in there that is helpful to whoever you're trying to serve, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have made those YouTube videos to begin with if you didn't think it solved a problem or helped somebody out. And so you can use those YouTube videos in an email sequence. You can keep repurposing the content that you already created. So if one of your ideal fan clients, customers goes on your email list, and you know that they have problems in these areas and that you can help them out with, and hey, you have this quick YouTube video that might give them a quick win, then why don't you just put an email together that says like, hey, if you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, here's a quick video I made that might help you out. If you want to take the next step with me, or if you have further questions about that, hit hit reply and let me know. Maybe we can do a quick coaching call. And if you have a product, you do that. You offer them, like, you give a link to your product. I do this time. I either tell a personal story or send people to a blog post or a video that I made. And then I have like, and by the way, if you want one of my books or one of my other courses that helps with this in depth, because like you can't just like comprehensive answers to all of life problems in a 10-minute YouTube video, but
or an email body.
yeah, but and which is why we create products, which is why I put things into courses, because it's like, I can't answer the same questions all the time over and over and over and over again. My web, that's what my website does. If people have questions, I send them to, a free article, low price book, and then sometimes one of my bigger courses, and it's up to them to pick what they feel is right for them based on their ability to pay, willingness to solve their problem, and just like how much of an impact or how much of an investment they really want to make in themselves, in a way. So that's a little bit about sort of how you can qualify and follow up with your audience. And so yeah, that's another monologue by yours truly.
It's all good. That's half the fun of these things. Yeah.
I hope that was helpful, Calder. That maybe gave you too many ideas, but yeah.
It might have.
Yeah.
Nice.
How to smash writer's block and write your best lyrics ever. Yeah. I like it. I like that. I have a lyric writing book in here. I wrote, for similar problem solving purposes. So you find people that are more prolific in their songwriting than me. I'm a dabbler as a musician. I'm more of an audio engineer educator than anything else, but that defines your audience too. So like, you're looking for lyric writers or songwriters that maybe are better at writing the melodies and the songs, but not great at the lyrics, and they don't have Bernie Taupin to like help them out every time. And so you might be the guy to help them. Alex is here. He's an insider as well. Nice. Curious about what types of valuable content / lead magnets you think would work well for a prog rock band's audience. I'm thinking stuff that would excite other musicians. So is it for fans of the prog rock band? Because I feel like there's a difference between what I offer as lead magnets and what Ryan as a songwriter musician offers as fan magnets, in a way. So follow up with me. So we're talking about like an experience for fans, right? And so what would that be? Like behind the scenes stuff, maybe some unreleased songs. One of my insiders, Nick Hamilton, he's finishing another song, his 14th song or something, because he wants to have one song that is only available to his Bandcamp audience. So creating some exclusivity that way can be a good idea. Yeah, so like get an unreleased song, get a B-side, like you get diehard. If you can cultivate diehard fans, you will get the people that want to buy anything. It's like The 1,000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly, which is an essay that everybody should write or should read. They should not write it. But it's the once you have diehard fans, they'll buy anything from you. Like Traffic, like this is the box set that I bought. Like, I am a diehard fan of Russell Brunson, and it's like $127, and I own all those books on Kindle. So like that's the sort of ideal fan that you're trying to create, like somebody that you've been helping out for so long that he just like he'll buy the box set. Like Kevin Kelly's essay says this, like you want the fan that drives 100 miles for your show, buys the box set, the vinyl, the CD, and the download bundle, plus all of the merch. You want those people.
Yeah. How do you get there? Through storytelling.
Yeah. Just, and also like,
Right.
I find that audio engineering is quite a dry subject, right? We talked about this in our first episode, I think, like the real problems versus, or like $3 problems versus $30,000 problems.
Mhm.
Of like, it tends to get pretty boring to talk about like how to EQ a kick drum or what reverb to use on a vocal or whatnot, because it's also like depends is always the answer, and like use your ears is a cop out advice when like you can't really obviously you should use your ears, but you need like my students definitely need more practical advice than use your ears. However, that's why I like to storytell. That's why I like to put personality into like these somewhat dry technical subjects, you know. And also why I wrote a business book in the music industry and try to make it rock and roll and readable, because like I said before, like musicians tend to be very hesitant about wanting to do the business of marketing, because they may have some sort of limiting belief that makes it so that they feel like they
for me.
Sorry?
The record label will do it for me.
Right. They don't want to do it, or they feel like they're selling out.
Yeah.
So as a fan magnet, so what? Yeah, we talked about this. Basically, like what exclusivity can you add? What kind of experience can you give them?
Yeah. And what can you do that's only on your mailing list?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I like my email list is like there's so many emails that I never post publicly. Like I'll only send them out to my email list. Don't create blog posts out of them and things like that. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It says here, sharing your story on the fact we're all wood balls, maybe some guitar tabs, list stems, live stream hangouts, stuff like that. Yeah. A band that does this really well on their Patreon and their Facebook lives is another insider member of mine. The Promise is Hope, Eric and his wife Ash. They're in Boston, Massachusetts. They have an active Patreon. I'm a Patreon member of their band, and they do really great live streams and incredible engagement with their audience. And like, so like they're not just like putting live, like going live and then playing their songs. They're like talking to the audience. They know, like kind of like we are doing right now, but almost taking some requests, I think. And then you get exclusive songs and exclusive stories on the Patreon when you become a paying member.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, we can either do another round of questions, or one more topic.
Okay. What would do you have anything in mind?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you guys want to drop any final questions in the chat, I think the value here is, responding to whatever you guys want to talk about. And and just like rewarding you for taking this time and spending it with us.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, we'd be happy to go into another tangent. That's pretty much our favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I think we're trying to keep these like 45 minutes. So I guess we can go 5 minutes over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who are your, I guess we never really talked about this. Who are your ideal students in the Indie Music Academy?
Yeah. So a lot of that starts with the like the videos and the blog posts that I write. And those are researched. It's not like I just like write about whatever. Usually a video is responding to some kind of question that I find, some kind of question that's asked, something that's, in the news. Like, for example, the new, like, Spotify, or not Spotify, SoundCloud, fan powered royalties would be like something that's in the news. Working on a blog post about that. Right. And so what that does is it creates value. It's also relevant to the person that I'm trying to attract and, connect with. And so the content and the research behind the content is basically how I pull out the right person out of the crowd of people, the crowd of the entire world. And so when someone reads or someone watches, and I make sure that all my content is SEO optimized, that's like a very technical but very important thing of what I do. Once that content's discovered, that is my chance to give them some kind of quick win. If the video is amazing, they'll comment, say like, the best video ever. I'm just joking, but and then they can grab some free stuff at the Indie Music Academy. I have a page that's dedicated to a whole bunch of free stuff. It's Indie Music Academy /free guides. And that's my fan magnet, all kinds of stuff that is supposed to give them the warm fuzzies about meeting me. And then from there, I continue to give them all kinds of exclusive stuff on the mailing list that doesn't ever make it to YouTube. It doesn't ever make it to a blog post. They have the opportunity to reply directly back. It hits my inbox. So it's a very, similar setup to what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's extremely similar setup to, what I have my artists set up for their music. Because at the end of the day, musician or business person, whatever you categorize yourself as, it's all about building relationships. And so as a musician, building relationships, kind of doing the same thing. Your content wouldn't necessarily be like a blog post about, the music industry. It would be your music and your personality on display.
Yeah.
And actively inviting people to take the next step into, and also educating them on what the next step is. A lot of fans don't understand the right way to support you. And, their presumptions about that might be different than what you're trying to get them to do. And it's a total mismatch. So just communicate with them the next step that you want them to take. And if that's, downloading your fan magnet, joining the mailing list, if that's what you want them to do, communicating that clearly and in a natural way and making it a part of the content is also crucial as well.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your journey is or their journey for you, where it's most applicable for them to use your services or read your content, is sort of like when they're building their careers, when they've decided that to do it maybe more seriously than being a dabbler. They want to see some success or results for whatever that means to them. Right. And we sort of share a little bit of an overlap if we think about what range we are helping each other, helping our audience, which is why it's like it's a perfect show for us, because we're talking to sort of the same people. But mine are musicians, bedroom producers, audio engineers that are starting out, that want to learn learn mixing without being overwhelmed with all the plugins and all the different techniques. I give them a simple sort of proven process, a formula, a framework, whatever you want to call it, because I like having a system and working within sort of steps. That's why step-by-step mixing is such a good title. And then on top of that, so that's my ideal client, is that's who I can help the most. And then you have the subset, which are my insiders, which are the people that have sort of gotten the gist of the mixing, but now they're just continuously trying to improve. And those are my dream members, my dream students. is the record releasers, not the. I like to think of them. There's the mix finishers that finish their mixes and are like happy with their and like confident in their abilities, but then maybe don't necessarily take the next step, and which I find a little sad sometimes, because I feel like you should release your music to the world, if only to take that psychological step. But then you have the record releasers, and the record releasers are the people that hit the publish button and actually want to promote what their work and what they're doing. Maybe to crickets at first, but I had no audience when I started either. So I think that's just how the world works.
Yeah. Even if it is crickets, it's crickets if it just sits on your hard drive too. So
right. Might as well tell somebody.
Yeah, there's no downside.
Right. Yeah, you just learn a lot. Like my first product was a complete failure, but I learned a lot about making products, customer research, outsourcing, using contractors, figuring out how to sell, those sorts of things, or not sell, to be fair.
Yeah.
So it's all a learning process. So
awesome.
All right. I think with that said, I think it's time for lunch.
So Droop Lion says good information. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. I hope I pronounced the double O correctly. And yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Any closing thoughts?
No, just keep working on what you're doing. Try to make an impact with what you want to do. And if you want either of our helps, you know where to find us. I'm doing my insider membership for only $1 this month for 30 days. If you want, you can get my Mix Finisher cheat sheet at mixfinisher.com. You can get the book You Get What You Give at yougetwhatyougivebook.com. That's all in the show notes, I think. And then step-by-step mixing, which you can find on Amazon or on stepbystepmixing.com, either on Amazon or through my site. So
one of your 1 million books.
One of my 8 books, yes. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We'll sort of add the subjects, but this was a fun conversation. And but we'd be happy to take some suggestions on topics, and we'd love to talk about what you want to hear about. So until next time, until next Tuesday.
Until next Tuesday.
Yeah. Bye.